Hello, my name is Bobby Kennedy and I'm a test engineer for Alpha. Today I'd like to demonstrate the new battery capacity tester and our load bank. This is to try to clear up any confusion that people have about what the function of this device is. It can both test batteries, it can analyze the batteries, it can tell you all the different characteristics of the batteries. At the same time, you can turn around and use it as a load bank, a separate standalone load bank. When you first turn the unit on, it'll come up with this screen, and the screen gives you various options. You have discharge, you have data, battery view, you have charge, setup, and preset. Now what I've done is I've just hooked up basically the cables to 4 batteries. They're 12-volt batteries, and on each of the batteries I've connected one of the modules. This is to demonstrate how we can test batteries. When you hook the module up, first off, the module has a number. This is module number 1. Typically, if you're going to test a whole string of batteries, you'd use module 1, then module 2, and so on and so forth. Module 1, each one of the modules can connect to 4 batteries. And those 4 batteries can be 1.2 volt cells, 2 volt cells, 6 volt cells, or 12 volt cells. I've currently got it hooked up to 4 12 volt cells. On the very back of this unit, where it gives you the model number, the module number, pardon me, it also tells you exactly how to hook the thing up. And if you follow those directions, there's no way you can mess it up. On the other side, you'll notice there's a power light that blinks, and then every once in a while you're going to see a comm light that will flash when the module is being read by the load bank. The really nice feature of this is Bluetooth. There are no wires connecting the module to the load bank or the battery tester. It's all done by Bluetooth. You actually have an antenna. The antenna is installed on the front, and that's what communicates to the modules. So normally what you would do when you first turn the unit on is you would go into the preset position. This is all touch screen. So you select the preset, and you've got up to 8 different parameter settings that you can store into the device. Right now I've selected parameter setting 1 out of 8. That gives you the option of setting the capacity on the battery, the hour rates on the battery, the current set, for example, how much current you want to drain out of the batteries. It also gives you various other options. For example, time set. You can set how long you want the unit to run. You can program a given current, and you can tell it to run 2 hours, 3 hours. It will capture the data. At the end of that time, it will actually shut off. You then can go down and put what the battery load. Any one of the batteries in my string that drops below, and I've programmed in 10 volts. If any one of them reaches 10 volts or below, the unit will shut down at that time. If you don't want it to quit, you can actually set that to 0, meaning that you can test the batteries until they drop to absolutely nothing. The next setting is group low. In other words, what's the total string voltage? Well, we know we've got 48 volts there. I've programmed in that if the total string voltage goes below 40 volts, that the unit will shut down. Again, if you don't want it to quit at that time, you can program that to 0. And it'll sit here and run until the time expires. You also have battery sum. Battery sum is you put in how many batteries you have. In this case, we've got 4. You can put in how many groups you have. For example, if I had 2 strings of these batteries, I would put in 2 for the groups. So that means I would have 4 batteries in each group, or a total of 8 batteries. I can put in what the battery low number is. In this case, I'm using module number 1. Okay. Then typically what you would do, once you program that in, you would hit apply. Once you've applied it, you would hit exit. Now you can go over and press battery view. You press OK, and it will come up and give you a table that shows you each one of the batteries. For example, battery 1 down here is reading 12.45 volts. Battery 2 is reading 12.446, and so on and so forth. If you had 48 batteries, it would show all 48. If you had 60 batteries, it would show all 60. You also have the option of going to chart. Chart will show you in a chart format the batteries. You'll notice you've got one is highlighted in green, two are in yellow, and one is in red. That's indicating to you the green is the high voltage battery, the red is the low voltage battery. So you can compare what happens to the batteries as you run a test on them. We can exit out of that screen. You also, and this is another feature of it, you can monitor the batteries during charge. For example, I can go into the charge mode, press OK, and it now would set here while you're actually charging the batteries, and it would monitor the cell voltage and tell you exactly what's happening to the cells as they set during charge. Most people, however, are going to run this thing in the discharge mode. And the discharge mode is we want to determine what the capacity of the batteries are. Now, when I turn this on, it's going to get loud, so I'm going to try to talk to where you can actually hear me. So when we go into the discharge, press OK. It comes up and gives you a screen which tells you what you've got set in there, which is what we did a while ago in the preset. Once you preset all that stuff, it comes up and tells you exactly what you've set it for. And so what I've programmed it into now is only 1 amp of current, since this is just a demonstration. I'm going to drain 1 amp of current out of the battery, and I don't want to see a battery drop below 10 volts, and I don't want to see the cell, the whole total group voltage drop below 40 volts. So once you verify that everything is set like you want, you hit start. It comes up and it says, okay, what I'm reading now is 49.6 volts total string voltage. It highlights the high battery and it highlights the low battery. Now we hit start. It asks you to make sure that you turned on the circuit right here on the front and the fans are running. You would say, okay, yes, fans are running, breaker's on. You would hit OK, and now you'll notice it starts ramping the current up. So once it gets the current up to 1 amp, it'll sit there now and it'll run for however much time you've actually got programmed into the pump. And at the same time, it's monitoring total string voltage, it's monitoring what each individual cell is doing. Now we can verify that is, we can go in now and press the button here that says battery. Go back to battery and it shows you the chart. And the chart is showing you what's happening in each one of the cells. So if I was sitting here actually draining the batteries to a normal, like a 50 amp load, you would actually begin to see the cells start to come down as they begin to discharge. You can also go back and look at it in table format. So you can monitor all of that. And again, the important thing is it runs for the length of time that you specify and when it shuts off. I hope that explains somewhat the operation of the unit or the capacity tester. Next, I want to demonstrate that it's a standalone load battery. So what I'm going to do is go exit, hit pause, stop it, press stop, complete, it's out of the battery test mode now. I hit exit, I'll go back over and I'm going to hit preset. And in this case, so I can see, and I'll try to talk loud so you can hear me above the fan. I'll go back to preset, I hit OK. As far as any of the battery settings, you don't have to worry about that because I'm going to use it strictly as a load battery. The only thing that I need to do, I'll hit modify, and then I'm going to select what current I want. Okay? And in this case, again, I'm going to just set it for 1 amp. So I'll set it for 1 amp. Then I go down and I actually select what I want the battery sum to be. In this case, I'm not going to do any battery testing, so I'm going to set that to 0. When you set it to 0, that tells the unit this is not a battery test, this is a load test. So we select and we go back to 0. So what I've programmed into the unit now is the fact that 1 amp current. Whatever load we're going to put, whatever device we hook up to it, we want 1 amp current. That we have no batteries, so it's strictly a load. I would say apply. I would hit exit. I've now got setting up here. This is a DC power source. It's a rectifier, which is basically a DC power supply with a controller. 125 volts output. So what we're going to do is use a load bank and put a 1 amp load on the rectifier and see what happens to the operation of the rectifier. When we come back, pardon me, I need to turn on the breaker. I have to turn on the output breaker from the device on the test. We'll go back, now we go back to the discharge. Even though that says discharge, since you've specified no battery, the unit now is capable of functioning as a standalone load bank. So it tells me again that I've got 1 amp current set, my group load with 40 volts. You can put in there anything you want. It's a 125 volt system, so you can put in 120 or 115. That voltage from that rectifier drops below that, it would actually cut off. We've actually programmed in a battery sum of 0, which tells them strictly to function as a load bank at this point. Once we've done that, we will hit start. It'll come up and ask you again, make sure the fans are running and the circuit breaker's running. We'll say okay, okay. And he's now forcing 1 amp out of our DC source at 125 volts. And if you'll notice on the screen, he's actually showing you the actual current that he's drawing. And he'll sit here and run as long as you want him to, or, as I indicated earlier, you can program a time. You can have him run for 1 hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, to make sure that that device is going to function properly at that level. So right now I'm going to turn the unit off so I can finish. That quietens the fan. The nice thing with the unit is it's programmable all the way from 1 amp all the way up to 250 amps. Actually 300 amps, pardon me. You can go all the way up to 300 amps. It will function anywhere from 48 volts all the way up to like 130, 140 volts. It'll actually go a little higher than that. We've played with it some. So it's a very versatile device. It will test batteries. It will also function as a standalone tester. You could also test it in combination with a battery charger and a set of batteries, and you could monitor exactly what's going on in the system. When the charger is charging the batteries, when the batteries are discharging into the power system in order to provide the power. So it's a very versatile system, and I'm sure if you get one, you'd be very happy.